sports betting is usually frowned upon. But in my life, I've been able to do a lot of great things in my community. I've been able to buy houses. I've been able to start my businesses. I started a medical consulting company, a media company. I started a cultivation, all pretty much with sportsbook money. And let me just put it this way: it's been the main catalyst in all of my businesses.
Yo, let's do this.
I wanted to start off by telling you my introduction to sports betting as a 15-year-old kid. Settings about 1987, 1988 aroundish. I was listening to Al B. Shore. I was listening to, you know, ah, sexy.
Ain't nothing wrong if you wanna learn about all night long.
It was around that time. Iced tea, colors, right? And I was playing high school, and I was pretty good. I was playing the shooting guard. I could shoot the lights out at the time. And don't let the belly fool you, because I have a contest against some of you guys. And I ended up going one day just on a fluke with my big brother. He's not my biological brother, but he was like a big brother, and he took me in and taught me a lot. He was teaching me basketball. And one day they went down to this place. It was an old historic place called the Las Vegas Club. Las Vegas Club was old school. It was Jackie gone, may he rest in peace. Jackie has a hotel. So I was around some real old timers, and these people were really dope. Like, these were really dope people. These were like the real gangsters, and they came to Vegas back in the day, and the Binions. And I'm this little kid, and I'm in the sports book. I'm not supposed to be in there. I got my little baby face in there. So my brother, he's telling me about this game. He's talking out loud. He's like, man, can the Bulls beat, the Pistons tonight by 2, or, and I'm like, hell yeah, they're going to blow them out tonight, Then I'm like, I remember him saying the Nuggets over 246. I'm like, look, the Nuggets going to give 150 by themselves. The other teams just got to make it up, right? That was when Doug English and all those guys were playing. Just a sports fan as a kid. I was watching everything basketball. Every Saturday morning, I'm getting up 8 a.m. I'm watching Georgetown versus the Running Rebels, Patrick Ewing. I'm watching all these, these studs play. And I love basketball. So I look up and I told him 2 teams that I liked. And he bet them. And when he bet them, and he put like $500 on them or something. So it paid him like $1,800. So he came home and goes, hey, little motherfucker, come here. He goes, you bet that game. I bet those 2 teams and you won. Man, I won $1,300. And I shit. So he threw me like $100. And I was like, oh man, thank you. Like, I didn't know. I just told you what I thought would happen. So the next day, I do my workout, do whatever. You want to ride down here with me? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I go, can you bet me my $100? You know what I'm saying? And at that point, he's like, you gonna bet your whole $100? I'm like, well, no, I'm gonna do I'm gonna bust and give me like $50 2 teamers. What was 2 teamers? Then he was like, well, 500 paid me 13, so 50 will pay you 130. And I'm thinking as a kid, man, I'm 15 years old, 16. I'm like, that's. But I was willing to risk it. I was willing to risk all of my money at that point in time. And I look up and before I know it, I hit another ticket. I hit one of the 2 teamers, so I had 180. So I went back the next day, and it just kept going. And then there was a guy there, and his name was Big Mike. Once again, I'm in there with the old gangsters, and this is that era, man. The mob is really heavy in Vegas, and I just remember being around these guys, and I knew they were important. I didn't know them, but I knew they were important. I knew they were somebody, smoking cigars, wise guys, real wise guys. And this name, Big Mike. He goes, why you keep betting that shit? He goes, it was a transition from baseball. It was around April. And he goes, man, you got to bet baseball, man. Ball's where the real money is. And he started showing me these like little parlays he was betting. And it would be like $25, and it would pay like $1,800. And I'm like, but he had like 9 teams on. I'm like, I'm not doing that many teams. I ain't got time for all that. And I did a couple like that. Then I realized that's like a sucker way. And man, before I know it, and it was Easter break. And at that point, I'm going down every day. It got to the point where I grew a little beard. And I got smart. As I would start winning the tickets, I got bold and I started to go collect them myself. And every time I win $180, I give the guy $10, right? So I was paying the extra vig because he knew. I'm like, and I make sure I go to this guy. I remember his name was Mike. There's another guy named Mike. Remember Mike? Mike was kind of like, he had like a limp and old school guy. He didn't give a fuck. He was like, yo, this is comical. This kid's, banging out games. So I slip him a 10. Every time I win here, $5, $10. Back then, that was a great tip, especially to those guys. So Big Mike was like, yo, baseball is where to make a lot of money. And I got on this bet. I had made a $5 3-teamer. And it had paid me $325. And I said, man, I made $300 off betting these games. And before I knew it, that week, from Monday, because we were off Easter break, so I was playing in tournaments, but I was off. So from that Monday, by the time Sunday came around, and that's business down the road, but from that Monday, I ended up winning like close to $3,000. I'm 15 years old. I'm 16. I just turned 16, right? So December 15th, I get into baseball in April. I just turned 16. And I remember this because I went and bought myself a 1982 Camaro. It was such a great feeling. I remember driving and had a speaker in the back already, so I had some boom. I put up boom, boom, boom. All my other partners, they had like cutlasses. They had like gangster cars and shit. Right? I paid for it myself. And I was like, the book paid. Even though I couldn't, I had insurance and everything, I could pay for that. That's when I learned about, insurance. And I was bused to school. And what I would do is on like Fridays, I would drive it to school. But I catch the bus. I was still broke. But my brother was like really, Jeff was really like thrown back that I was so fearless. And I remember that next season, I didn't give a fuck, man. I started making money. I was working my summer job, so I had money saved. I was literally going down to my summer job. I would tell them, let me go put the bet in, and I'll pay for lunch today. And I was winning money back then. I was betting like little 2-teamers, and I would hit the 2-teamers, and man, I just had a knack for seeing the games. And I would buy staff. I worked at Doolittle Community Center with kids, and I would buy the staff. I would buy them lunch pretty much every Friday. Lunch was on me because I was winning so much money. I didn't care. Like, it was free money to me. I didn't even care about my check. I was putting my check up, and that was the start for me, man. That's what got me hooked, and I was good. My brother just could not believe how I was so willing to take the risk and not worry and not. One of my other stories, and I like to tell because it was a heartbreak hotel, and that story was Monday Night Football, Minnesota Vikings. I forget who they were playing, but I remember it was the Minnesota Vikings, and I bet them, and man, I had bet $550. Now I'm 16 for sure now because I'm driving my car, I got everything. I bet $550. I saved my money up. I said, I'm gonna make one big straight bet. And I remember I was gonna win, and they kicked it off. And the guy, instead of just like downing it like in the back and like kind of running the clock out, the guy ran it all the way down like to the other team's 23-yard line. And then like a couple missed tackles later, the guy scampered into the end zone and I lose. Right? So I was like, oh my God, Monday night. But before when I scored the kickoff, I was, yes, I'm the man. I won. I got $1,000, baby. I'm gonna win. I'm $16,000 is a lot of money to me. Even though I'm going to school with a lot of money in my pocket. I mean, I was betting, man. I think back to how blessed I was, but how oblivious I was to what I was really doing back then. And it was just amazing. But that Monday Night Football game taught me a lesson that it's never over until it's over. And my brother was sitting there like, hey, calm down, man. It's still like left. They got time to go down and score. And when he kicked it off and ran it back the other way, and I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Don't, no. I remember losing. But what really impressed my brother was my bet was good. I came back 2 weeks later. I bet another $550, and Charles Barkley, the round mounder rebound. I'll never forget it. I needed like points in like 35, and he missed like 4 free throws in that time. I mean, literally 4 free. He makes the free throws. I win. I get my money back. I'm happy. It's 2 bets within a week of $550 apiece. And what happened was my brother was just like, man, you're done, man. You got to stop and relax. And I was like, fuck that. I'm good. Be okay. And he's like, nah, man, you're acting like a crackhead, man. Stop. You're a crackhead. And so I went and made some bets without him. And before you know it, I ended up hitting I said, fuck it, I'm going to do a $500 2-team. I was so oblivious and didn't care. And I ended up betting the 2-teamer, and I hit it, got all the money back. I'll chill out. I'm going to chill out. And then I went back to just betting 220s. But then he really realized that, that I had a knack for it, that I had a gift for it. I went to college, and I did really good in college, man. I came home, but I'm glad I did because it took me away. And when I came to college, man, I did money. So I was taking my hot little $25 that my girl would give me, and I would go across the street and try to parlay it. And that didn't always work out good. And then the next phase, I ended up getting a really good job as a valet. And then in the next, I'll tell you guys what I did with my tips every day. You couldn't imagine, but it was enough that I'll tell you the story in the next segment of how I really became Larry Smith, the sports bettor, and I really realized that I truly had a gift, and it was something I loved, and I knew it was different. I could make a living doing it, and the biggest part for me was I wasn't afraid, and I took the risk. And obviously, looking back on it, some people would say I was dumb and crazy, but sometimes you have to be a little insane to do what you love, and this is what I love. I was blessed, man. I was blessed, and I was smart enough that I knew that if you win, you got to do something with the money, so they can't get it back. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of the motto that I started to rock with. Damn, if I win, I'm gonna do something with this. Man. I'm not gonna. They can get some of it back, but they ain't getting it all back. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make it to where I'm doing something with the money. Out of all the things that I have, this is the thing that I love the most, and I love the fact that I'm now able to help people, because the books in Vegas, they're kind of messed up, the stuff that they do to kick people out. So it's not cool. So, but man, that's it. So thank you guys for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I got a couple more to tell you guys. So be on the lookout for those Larry Smith sports betting old school stories.